So it'll be a busy year, but an exciting year. And I'm grateful to have been able to present this to you.
Any questions for Ms. O'Connell? Actually have, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, she seemed to take some delight in Reading beating North Reading in that, Olympiad. I just detected that in her
Yes.
voice. I don't know why.
We'll get there. It'd be nice to beat them. That's my alma mater.
I know.
What,
There's a lot of history in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reading has been doing it for
Long
20
time.
years. 20 years, and they're always the winner. And we have stepped in 3 years. We've stepped from 4, 3, 2,
And next year,
maybe
one.
next year.
And I was remiss in mentioning Mark Gorgani. He's the teacher leader for the Science Olympiad, and he's done a terrific job.
Good.
He really has. Not alone, but he's done a terrific job advising that group.
so I have a couple questions. Maybe Ms. Willis will have to help on these, or at least one of them. In terms of the moving the modulars to another location, is that going to cause any kind of confusion or?
No, we've already decided that there is a hallway where the mods will be coming into that's a little narrow. So we've already thought about, with the help of Mr. Maloney, the assistant principal, moving some classrooms over to the other side of the hallway where the modulars were to alleviate some of the congestion in the hallways. So other than moving some classrooms, which is never easy, and I don't want to say, it's not it's certainly something we need to consider, but other than that, moving the mods, hopefully will not be a problem at all. Everything's empty. It's been stored in the gymnasium, and I hear they will be beginning to move them in mid-July.
And then the second question is, so the public knows, tonight we weren't able to come in, we had to sneak in the side door tonight. We weren't able to come in the front door because they're removing trees in preparation for a lot of the work that's going to be going on up here and with the high school. When school starts in the fall, the front door students will be able to will enter through the front door as they always have, or will we be making changes to that?
No, it's our understanding that everything will be back to normal, in quotes. There will be a different traffic pattern. Kathy has been working with our architects to come up with a traffic pattern that makes sense.
Okay.
And all of that information will be communicated to the public well in advance of the opening of school in September.
Okay. And then
That would be referred to as the new normal.
the new normal, right. And I also noticed in terms of population, you basically are remaining the same. You're down, I think, 2 students, so next year you'll have 660, which is still way too big of a load for this building.
That's correct.
It's a big size. I'm waiting on exact numbers for the incoming grade 6 for students who may choose to
Right.
go to private schools, but I'm estimating about 660. It's big.
It really is.
It is.
Any questions?
Tonight, before I came here, I had 4 Boy Scouts interview me for a merit badge, a civic merit badge, and they were all students here at the middle school. And they were talking or interviewing me about the new school buildings. And I just want to say they were raving about the middle school and about the principal. So, I mean, they absolutely had nothing but good things. They were very, very bright, by the way. But they had nothing but good things to say about both Kathy and the middle school.
Good. That's
Yeah.
great.
Great to hear.
Before I leave, I'll just say that a year ago when I was very excited about coming here, I was at a gathering in Westford, and I announced to the group of family and friends that I would be the new middle school principal in North Reading. And I really don't think I got a congratulations before I got, do you think you could introduce me to Frank Carey?
Oh, that's funny.
True story.
That's right.
So if there's no
Thank
further
you.
questions, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept the middle school improvement plan for 2012-2013.
So moved.
A second.
Motion by Mr. Bowers, seconded by Mr. Venezia. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right, next, we have Mr. John Bernard to present his school improvement plan, and also for one of, I know, the school committee's favorite times of year, which is reviewing the student handbook.
Did my homework.
Yeah, we it's always our favorite time of year to see John right after school ends. Oh, wait. There you go.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hopefully you don't interfere.
Remember, this is the policy, we just
Which one? This one here?
This whole school
That whole
behavior
thing,
policy, yeah.
I was just looking at some language, but
Yeah.
it looks good.
I don't know if we can change it 'cause it's exactly the way it is in our policy. All right. $167.
What's that for?
I don't know.
That's it, thank you.
Welcome, John.
Thank you, nice to see you all. Let's see. My kid Frank is 47 years, I'm turning 48 in December. But that's the truth. If that surprises people, then this is 47, or it's amazing to him that he's been in teaching as long as I've been alive. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me tonight to discuss with you a few things. I'm just glad I'm not following Jonathan Gravelisi and Kyle Boucher.
They were
at the mic.
great.
I thought they did a great job with
They
you.
really did.
Well, tonight I have a few things to talk with you about, and the first is the presentation of our school improvement plan. And similarly to Mrs. O'Connell, I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge the people that serve on the school council for the high school. Mr. Campobasso is our teacher rep. Trish Colella, who I think everybody knows, I'm finishing my 9th year as the principal. Trish has been on my school council all of those 9 years and was on prior to that, so I'm not sure how many years. I don't think it's quite as long as Frank's been coaching baseball, but I think it's probably about a dozen years that she's been on the school council for the high school, at first as a parent and now as a community rep since her daughter Stephanie graduated. Matthew Layton is our student rep. Mr. LaPrette, the assistant principal, serves, as does Mrs. McMullen, or did Mrs. McMullen. Her son James graduated in June, so we'll be looking for some new parent representation on the high school council. Let's see. And again, following the format, I have copies of the PowerPoint. Would you like those? Would that be helpful to? Just a few here, if you want. Thank you, Carl. Similar in format, I'd just like to take a moment to go through with you some highlights from the past year, talk about our goals going forward. Thank you, Carl. And then some things that we're taking on as kind of significant initiatives for the future. You might remember that back several years ago when I first presented a school improvement plan, it was at Mrs. Colella's suggestion that, having served on the school committee prior, she thought it might be helpful if the school improvement plan covered a 2-year window, so that that the school committee would always have a year in advance notice, if you will, as to what maybe the high school was advocating for through the school council, so that they could consider those when they did the budget deliberation. So again, our plan this year is a 2012-13, 2013-14 plan. Looking back on the last year, a number of things that I could talk to you about, but I think, to highlight some kind of significant things that I think are noteworthy, we too at the high school have enjoyed an increase in our technology through laptop computers, iPads, installing smart boards, using smart boards as instructional resources. We've purchased recently a student response, kind of a clicker system, which is a very good way of gathering some kind of immediate feedback from students on their comprehension of concepts taught. And our school council has donated, our parent association has donated 6 Kindle e-readers for use among our students. We introduced this year a couple of new clubs. We have our international travel experience. You know that students went to Italy this year. I think there were 44 of them. We're planning a trip to Barcelona and to Paris for the coming year. And that's something that we've enjoyed the last few years, and I expect, as long as we get the endorsement of the school committee and all things go well, that we will continue to take our students to abroad to experience cultures beyond the United States. And then in the World of Sciences Club had a very successful year. We also introduced gymnastics and girls ice hockey as 2 new athletic programs. We're continuing with our faculty book discussion groups. These have been very, very good for us. These are voluntary experiences. I think we're up to about 6 now. I have about a dozen faculty that are reading a book this summer for us to discuss in the fall. It's called On Common Ground. It focuses on the value of professional learning communities in schools. We've done 2 books on anti-bullying initiatives. We did a book this past year on 21st century skills, and it's nice to see faculty come together in a voluntary way to read these books and then discuss them with their colleagues. I think you all know that one of the things that I would point to is what I am particularly proud of is the expansion of course offerings at the high school. We did, again, through your wisdom, endorse a number of new courses to be introduced in the coming school year. I'm happy to say that a number of those are running due to a high interest of student among our students. That includes our advanced placement program. I did a little bit of tallying just today, and in 2011-12, we had 275 students enrolled in an AP course in some department, and it may be one student in multiple courses, but there were 275, and next year we're projecting 340.
Wow.
So that's a pretty significant increase, and I think it speaks well of our students and their willingness to stretch themselves, to challenge themselves by enrolling in those highest level courses that we offer, those at the advanced placement level. As you know, we're preparing for our decennial accreditation review, which is going to take place in 2014. Some things that we've already completed are a review of our school's mission statement, now labeling that as a core values, beliefs, and 21st century learning expectations. And we've developed and adopted in June, earlier this month, among the faculty, school-wide learning expectation rubrics that measure our students' level of achievement among the expectations that are outlined in the core values and beliefs document. We have been for a number of years engaged in the writing, that in some cases that's revising of curriculum, but for all of our new courses, the writing of curriculum for those, that's going to continue. It's continuing this summer and will continue into next school year to make sure that our students are afforded the most contemporary aspects of their learning. As you know from a school committee meeting that I think was held at the high school in January, when I brought our Director of Guidance in, Mr. Rosa, he spoke to you about the expansion of the Naviance program. We're continuing that work this summer. We've introduced now 2 grades to the whole Naviance college search process. I would say probably 90% of our transcript dissemination to colleges and universities for the class of 2012 went out electronically. So we're very, very pleased with that. Parents are enjoying that. Students are very actively engaged in using Naviance and Family Connection to kind of chart their course for their future beyond high school. It's a very good program, very exciting to see students as actively involved in it as they have been in just a short period of time. And I do want to highlight the work of our climate study team. They are the group of teachers who voluntarily work to enhance our school's climate. They are chiefly responsible for the administration of the My Voice survey, which we did in 2010 and then just recently completed in April of 2012, and I will be preparing presentations on the results of that in the fall. So those are some highlights from 2011-12. Goals for 2012-13, they are all stated in the plan, and I'm not sure if you want me to just touch upon these, Mr. Webster, is that okay?
You can
Just
do that
go
if you're-
through them
yeah.
quickly? Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Again, these are goals that as a council, as a school council, we thought, these are the kind of the overarching things we want to focus on for the coming school year. They are by no means the only things we will be undertaking, and we may not accomplish all of them to the level that we hope, but I can assure you a concerted effort will be put forth to do that. We're obviously preparing for the 21st century learner. That's what goal number 1 speaks to, and all of that encompasses in the areas of curriculum instruction and assessment. We are continuing to expand our use of technology as a teaching and learning tool. I think it's fair to say, as a school, we are very careful to strike the balance between, the value that technology has as a teaching and learning tool, but not relying on it solely as the only resource. We like our teachers to have, kind of a number of things in their bag of tricks, if you will. And technology, while it's important, is not the only thing that we're relying on, but it has taken a pretty significant role in our teaching and learning in the last few years, and I expect that it will continue to do so. Goal number 3, to satisfactorily implement the goals of the committee, the school committee that is, the faculty. We have all of our departments prepare a goals document at the end of each school year, and that's something that I pull together over the summer and reissue in the fall.